Welcome to short video introduction to my work on individual behavior of ants and the way of managing social and ecological crises. My name is Olga Bogaterova. I am a biologist, but I also worked at the University of Bath teaching theory of inventive problem solving. Now I'm director of the company, which is called BioTRIZ. This company advises businesses and agencies in inventive problem solving and taking ideas from living nature and implementing these ideas into engineering, technology, and management. I also published a book, Biomimetic Management, where I describe the fundamental law of nature that allows us to take ideas from ants to human strategic management, in spite of the fact that we don't have 6 legs like ants and 5 eyes like ants. So let's start our introduction. Ants' way of managing crisis. I looked at the Amazon and found 20,000 results on crisis management books on this site. It's a lot. We've got lots of published materials on this subject. But currently, in the crisis, why not to use all this past experience? The point is that each country sometimes experienced either financial or economic or social or ecological crisis, but now all countries simultaneously experience all financial, economic, social, ecological crises, and this like a domino effect. And all crises came into resonance. And what happens that the way to manage crisis is different for each type of crisis. And sometimes recommendations contradict each other. And this creates a total frustration because we don't know what to do. Let's see how biology can help us. So why biology? When we compared engineering patents with solutions that biology takes for the same challenges, we discovered that in technology, humans, they just use heat, beat and treat technology, lots of energy, lots of different materials, and comparing to the number of materials, not very often people use information. But we were surprised that it happened that biology uses mostly information, less materials and energy. Energy is extremely expensive in biology because somebody pays their life in biology. When somebody is eating, it's always cost life. Materials. How many materials do we have now? How many polymers? It's a lot, thousands of polymers. We invented thousands of polymers and new materials. And we've got serious problem with recycling and reusing these materials. But in biology, they use only 2 polymers, proteins and polysaccharides, and that's it. For all the structures, very hard and very soft structures, nearly liquid, everything is based on these 2 materials. So, when we compared biology and technology, we found that only 12% similarity in the way they resolve the challenges. They approach the challenges differently. Which means that 88% of novel solutions are hidden from us and are yet to be discovered in biology. when we are able to see them, these solutions, and translate the solutions into technology and management, in the human reality. And again, when people are talking about changes in biology, they always think about evolution. Evolution is a pretty long process. It takes millions and millions of years. Do we have this time now for adaptation? Oh, maybe we do, but not during our lives. So we are risking our survival if we rely on evolution. But our society reminds me the complex ecological systems. And these complex ecological systems, they use different way of change. It is called succession. It's pretty predictable stages. Every ecosystem comes through very predictable stages. And these changes are driven by different laws than evolution. And it strikes me that our society is that complex that it could be compared with complex ecological systems. And on the pinnacle of succession in ecology is climax stage of succession, when all small cycles of successions come into resonance and the ecosystem becomes adult, mature, and finally dies in fire. What are the parameters that can show us that ecosystem close to fire? It's low diversity. Humans become key species on our planet at the moment. Rigidity, stability, slow process, and the resistance to novelty. These are parameters that could be used as sign of fire, basically. So we are very close at the moment to the sort of social climax. This could be analogy for this is the fire in the ecosystem, very mature ecosystem. So the question is, are we close to the fire? How to deal with social and ecological crisis? We ask these questions to ants. We put them into two types of crisis. Social crisis, when we increased let's say in a couple of days, we increased the number of their colony 10 times. And ecological crisis, when we removed one colony when they've been sleeping at night, and we moved the colony 5 kilometers away from the original place. So both experiments were our question to ants, how they organize themselves in crisis and how they manage the crisis. Imagine the social crisis, what we did. Imagine you've got a couple of children in your family, and then you woke up in the morning and realize that you've got 20, 30 children. What are your actions? First of all, you need to feed them, organize them, and so on. Absolutely similar situation with the ecological crisis. Imagine you are going to bed in your house, and then you wake up in the middle of Sahara Desert, let's say. What are your actions? Obviously, environment completely changed. So, ants' answers we will describe at our webinars, and now we'll continue further. How do we sense the crisis? What's the main parameter that we we can, by which we can define that something is in crisis. We argue that it's mostly information category. It's uncertainty. Too little or too much information. Obviously, with the current situation with coronavirus, we've got, first of all, we had very little information about this virus. And now we have enormous information of different recipes how to deal with any viruses and so on. So again, both situations are not comfortable. Contradictory information. Somebody says that virus afraid of all this antivirus medication. Somebody says that it's not true. And it's a lot. If you have a look now on YouTube, lots of sort of experts show you absolutely contradictory ways of preventing of getting this infection. Also, past experience and knowledge are not relevant. First immediate reaction on virus is antivirus. It's not the case in this case, I would say. It happened that we are not successful if we start fighting with virus with antiviral medication. We need immediately to stop immune reaction rather than encourage immune reaction. It was not obvious solution. Risk of wrong solutions is high as we don't know the laws of reality. Reality completely changed. We've never been in such a situation before. So what will be the laws of this new reality? We have no idea. This causes frustration and risk of taking solution. Simple example, whether wear a mask, face mask, or not to wear it. I still have the answer for myself, but is it risky on the streets, or is it not risky on the streets again? So lots of questions with no answers. So uncertainty causes anxiety and psychological crisis. So this is effect domino. One crisis causes another crisis. To deal with uncertainty, we developed a model from Ants' reaction on that process, which estimate the balance between the chaos and certainty in the information we are receiving. If it's too much certainty, we've got rigid norms and rules and minimum uncertainty. So all procedure-based, but in this case, organization is not very adaptable. It loses the mechanism for adaptation. And the only way of addressing the crisis is to die in this case. In the opposite situation, no structure, no rules, maximum uncertainty. It's not comfortable. It's chaos. But in this case, there is some chance of getting new order. That somebody, some creative person, some creative ant established new rules, discovers the laws of new reality, and we'll be moving back to the certainty and comfort. And between these two opposite sides are very precise meaning of corridor of quasi-equilibrium. It's a very comfortable position when we have certainty and we have creativity. We have uncertainty as well, because creativity creates this uncertainty. So we've got the mechanism of adaptation is working. System is adapted and adaptable. In blue sector, where order is prevailing, system is very much adaptable, adapted but not adaptable. In the middle, system is adapted and adaptable. In chaos, system is not adapted but adaptable. So you see, to be in the center is the best position for any organization, including ants and including humans. So what are the solutions from ants which we can use for our management? When we created social crisis for ants, we discovered that experts and all ants, all experienced ants, resolved the situation. They took care of all youngsters. They organized them in groups and created for them this special structure in their foraging environment, so they could be taught properly, could be taught to behave properly as well. So in internal crisis, ants could advise managers to give more freedom to experts. But they do not tolerate instructions. They do not tolerate very suppressive management, leadership. It should be democracy for democracy or even anarchy, full freedom for experts. External or eco-crisis. Experts will not be able to deal with tasks outside their competence. But this is time to give freedom to universals. This is the time for inventors and creative ants or creative people. But what to do in double crisis? It's really a challenge. And in this challenge, there is a time for inventors, not just creative people, but people are able to resolve contradictions in an inventive way, in a win-win basis. This is time for individual responsibility as well. Very often people are saying that they're frustrated due to this uncertainty, and they started to create their own rules. They started to decide for themselves or for their families, rather than listening to what authorities say. This is time for individual responsibilities. This is time for organizations to keep a helicopter view as well, because it's not the organization which will save people, it's people who will save organization. With this individual responsibility, I can tell you the story that when it was total lockdown, all dentists being closed, and my daughter with special needs urgently required to extract 218 wisdom teeth. And nobody could help, absolutely nobody, because all the dentists were shut and they didn't work because they had these rules to follow. But we found one who was not following the rules. Remarkably enough, this person also was in a risk age of around 70, but he abandoned these rules and he saved my daughter. And this was his personal responsibility for the situation. So this time is for people for personal responsibilities and personal decisions. So thank you for watching me. Please have a look at this book on the internet. It's on Amazon in 2 languages, in English and French. Currently, we translate it into Portuguese as well, because people find it very useful even in their everyday life. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.